So yeah, I'm Pratik, Choudhary. I'm one of the doctors working at King's College Hospital, and I've got a specific interest in type 1 diabetes, but particularly even within that, and people who struggle with hypoglycemia and impaired awareness of hypoglycemia. So I'm here, of course, as usual, to find out what's new here, but I'm also presenting some results of the user evaluation study we did with the new Minimed 640G system. Yeah, so I think, I was involved in the user eval of the VO, and the VO was a big deal because it was the first time a pump was allowed to do something without telling the patients.
Yeah.
And for that reason it was a big deal. But actually, in terms of what difference did it make, okay, I think this is a big step forward from that, certainly from the limited experience we've had. We had a few people in the user eval. As you know, the pump on its own is pretty much the same as any other pump. But it's when you combine it with a CGM, if you can get the money for it, that it makes the big difference. And we've just seen things much smoother running with the pump because it works so much harder. And effectively, from a kind of mindset point of view, it's the bottom end of a closed loop system. So it's the hypo end of a closed loop system. So yeah,
it's a big step forward. First step we've got towards fully functioning closed loop.
But what's interesting to see is what the speed's going. They've got the 640 out. They've only just launched it, and the studies with the fully closed loop are already starting.
Yeah.
So it's a really accelerated path that we can see moving forward.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of, we've noticed that they are kind of the buzz topic of the whole show this year. Closed loop, and how we're going to get to a fully automated system. So, what's your, if you don't mind me asking, what's your general opinion on the whole idea? Like, do you think they'll work? Do you think they're going to take off, or do you think it's a bit of kind of a false start?
No, well, okay, so I think there's a lot of bits there. So I guess there's a scientific bit, does the system work? And I reckon the systems can probably, as they are today, give you an A1C of 7 to 7.5% with minimal hypoglycemia, right? Now we know that there's probably about 25% people out there who can do that with MDI and finger breaks. Yeah. And another 15% who can do that with a little bit of help from other technology. But that means that 75% of people don't do that. And a lot of those people are trying really hard. There's some people out at one end who, for whatever reason, struggle to manage stuff. Maybe they don't have the information, education to do it. But even people who are working really hard, a big chunk of them will be unable to get down. Fail, I think, is a wrong word, but they'll struggle to get down to that level. And I think closed loop will make a big difference to those people, allowing them to get down. And on a global level, if you gave it to every person with type 1 diabetes, fine, you'd really push back eye disease and kidney disease. Can we afford it is a question. So we've had pumps since 1979, and 10% of UK people have them. We've had sensors since 2005, and 2% people have them. So there's one step about proving scientifically that it works, and it can get you to 7.5%. It's not better. It won't be better than an activated, educated, focused patient. I've been ingrained in Daphne. I've spent 15 years in King's or Sheffield, and I often make the analogy that I flew across. I'm flying back tonight, and I'm pretty sure there's some computer that's going to fly me across the Atlantic, but I ain't going to get in a plane that doesn't have a pilot up front. I'm a long way away from that.
This is what I said as well, in that I wouldn't have a driverless car, so I would have a machine to control whether I live.
Correct. And I'd find I don't mind activating cruise control on a smooth motorway for a while, or autopilot across the Atlantic, but the person driving the vehicle needs to know what to do, because the technology will fail.
In terms of learning from what the technology can do at the moment, so in your presentation there was some pretty alarming stats in terms of the number of times it was going below the threshold and where the safeguard would have to kick in. Did you find over time that the patients where that was happening a lot were learning from it and were able to kind of tailor?
Okay, so we didn't have enough time to see whether over time you'd get controlled better and the number of click-ons would be less. I don't think they will. Right. So some of those clicked on about 2.5 times a day. Now some of those wouldn't have been hypo if it hadn't interacted.
Yeah.
And it would click off and it would click back on again within half an hour. It didn't make much difference, but it thought you were going to go down and you didn't. Right? Probably half of those would have been hypos without the system. and 70% ended up being hypos without the system. Right? And those are times when the patients would, we know that people have, if you're looking at an A1C of 7.5%, you're looking at a couple of hypos a day. A lot of those click-offs were at night, 500 or so, when I think we know that, 1 in 3 nights people have silent hypos. What's the impact of those? Don't really know, actually, because it's so common. If it was really bad, it would have had a big negative impact. Not having them is obviously nice, but they're preventing those lows. So I wouldn't use the word alarming. I don't think it's alarming.
Yeah.
But I think the individual would have had to have I think what it does is it might allow you to be more aggressive in your bolusing, getting the glucose down, be a bit more aggressive in your basal rates, gives you a bit more of that safety net. I showed that graph, that slide of the cyclist on the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
And I think it allows you to go a bit closer to the cliff. And if it clicks off, you've got a bit more of a safety net. Yeah. So I think there were half the people who said, you know what, just do what it does, and if I hit the low level, I'll intervene, but I don't want to know anything about it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were like yourself, who were activated, motivated patients who wanted to know, what is this thing doing to me?
Yeah.
By the end of the 4 weeks, and that's a short period to observe people, they had, on the whole, mostly turned the alerts off in the day. Oh no, certainly in the night they turned it off. In the day, some of them kept it because they were using it as a decision-making tool.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the best things about the closed loop studies is that it tells us how to manage people on MDI and SMBG, or on pump alone. There's a lot of things, you could do what the system does. It clicks off. If you're at 7 and going down, it clicks off.
Yeah.
There you go. You can be a closed loop.
That's cool. So, it's teaching people to it's almost teaching people to be more in control, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, almost by taking away the control, it's showing you need to have more, which is interesting.
It could be, but I often make the point that, if you go back 40 years ago, people taking 1 shot and they were peeing in a cup once every 3 months, right? And then they were doing 4 tests and 5 shots. And now we're saying bolus 10 times a day, look at your CGM 15 times a day. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And some people don't mind that. I don't mind working hard for my job, but some people want to do a 9 to 5 job and go away. So I think different strokes for different folks.
Sure.